convicts could soon walk free. So, Michael, this is definitely a ruling that, again, has put Kenya on the spotlight. And this is because it is something that is different, given that death row was still there. But, again, the Supreme Court ruling that it is unconstitutional.
Michael, this is a complicated matter as it is today. I mean, it is Section 204 of the Penal Code, basically prescribing the type of judgment on an offense, but specifically inclined to the murder. I mean, if you're convicted for murder. Now, if the Supreme Court suspends Section 204 of the Penal Code, that simply means that these people are rendered without any judgment on them, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's what the law is. As it is today, if any judgment is made upon a convict, that judgment can only be lifted in two ways. One, by a nature of appeal, and two, by a pardon of the president in this case. But if the Supreme Court has now annulled that very section that prescribed the certain judgment on this specific individual, and then that is lifted by the Supreme Court, we are really into a situation where many people might possibly be left without any judgment on them, especially those who are on death row. Previously, what has happened is people have been put on death row, but they wait as long as they could because many governments are not able to put people on death row either by firing or by using lethal chambers or anything. But we are still seeing a lot of governments in the Middle East, dictatorial countries. I know Egypt still does it. We know that there are some countries in South America that still does it. They will fire and they will do it very quickly. Within a week or a month, once a conviction has been rendered, you're gone. They don't even wait for it. I know Tehran is doing it. They will do it very quickly. But this country has been lenient to the people on the death row. In most cases, they will just wait for them there. Nobody knows when he will die. He's just praying that next day he doesn't die and until they die in jail. And so what many countries have done is they've sort of lifted the idea of, putting people on death row and killing them, by putting them on life detention.
So now, what does this mean? Does this mean that if, for instance, you're convicted with murder, which, according to the law of Kenya currently, before this was nullified, you would be under death row? Well, you'd be done, basically, you'd be under death row. But now, if you are found with murder or robbery with violence, for example, which is another one that was under the penal code, there is no judgment that can be pronounced on you because currently, life sentence, you'd not be under life sentence. You'd literally have to be under death row, but now it's unconstitutional.
I think it will be under death sentence. Not under death sentence, but under life sentence. And so that's what the judges will do. Because once they've thrown out the penal code on death sentence, they will have to find something closer to that. Remember, a death sentence is the most, the most, I will say, severe sentence one will ever get in a court of law. And for that reason, if it is not death sentence, the nearest will be life sentence. In other words, we are confining you for life. You cannot go out there and live with amongst other people because you are in danger to them and to the society. And we do not even trust that you'll be able to even be reformed for that reason. So we will make sure that the state will look after you until you die.
And of course, the other question then would be, once now the Supreme Court has nullified this, what happens to the victims and the families of those who possibly either have their kin murdered or killed? Because then again, there's that feeling of, has justice been done? But we'll wait and see how this rolls out. But there you go. That's on the front page of the Standard, and that's the headline. Do get yourself a copy of the Standard just to see what exactly that is all about and the ruling that was given yesterday. Let's look at page